I do want to start with some breaking news. We've learned that the FBI is searching the home of former Ambassador John Bolton, his office as well.
Sure.
Can you tell me, why is the FBI raiding Ambassador Bolton's home and office, and did the White House get a heads up?
Well, so we're in the very early stages of an ongoing investigation into John Bolton. I will say we're going to let that investigation proceed. What I can tell you is that unlike the Biden DOJ and the Biden FBI, our law enforcement agencies are going to be driven by law and not by politics. And so if we think that Ambassador Bolton has committed a crime, of course, eventually prosecutions will come.
I want to talk about how John Bolton is a fucking war criminal.
And with real-life Bond villain Elon Musk beavering away on X, spreading a flurry of slurry across the Gooniverse, and Jeff Bezos crouched in a filleting position ready to receive the royal orange cock of the tax-dodging
Warning, the following contains images of animals in their natural habitat. Viewer discretion.
Tax-dodging multi-millionaire felon who's now running the show. America is now a fully fledged plutocracy.
The point that I want to leave with you in this very brief presentation is where I started, is there is no United Nations. There is an international community that occasionally can be led by the only real power left in the world, and that's the United States, when it suits our interest and when we can get others to go along.
Don't sugarcoat it.
The
Cupcakes.
building in New York has 38 stories. If you lost 10 stories today, it would make a bit of difference. This kind of mindless creation of the United Nations as something different from what it's in the United States' interest to do isn't going to sell here or anywhere else.
Damn right he should go to prison for killing 500,000 children in Iraq.
That this is the sort of investigation that some people who live in fairyland might like to undertake, but which bears no relationship at all to conditions in the real world.
The idea that Donald Trump ever appointed him to anything is astonishing.
You know, a lot of people have already looked at this and said, this looks a lot like retribution. Is this retribution?
Well, who has said it looks a lot like retribution?
This motherfucker is pure evil.
Eve of September the 11th, I want to deliver a clear and unambiguous message on behalf of the President of the United States. The United States will use any means necessary to protect our citizens and those of our allies from unjust prosecution by this illegitimate court.
Just like so many other people, this guy is the deep state.
What's at the root of this? Is this about classified documents?
Well, again, I'll let the FBI speak to that. Classified documents are certainly part of it, but I think that there's a broad concern about Ambassador Bolton. They're going to look into it, and like I said, if there's no crime here, we're not going to prosecute.
This guy's mustache has committed more crimes.
I thought it was a terrible idea even at the inception, because I think that vesting the authority that such a court would have in an international institution with no democratic accountability was inherently a bad idea. And I'd had some experience with this problem of unaccountable power.
I'm sure they're looking for some kind of secret stuff that made Trump look bad. Screw that.
As you know, Ambassador Bolton is a frequent critic of President Trump's. He's also on Kash Patel's enemies list.
Is going to leave a huge white power vacuum.
The administration has already revoked his security clearance, Secret Service protection. Is Ambassador Bolton being targeted because he's a critic of President Trump?
No, not at all. And in fact, if we were trying to do that, we would just throw out prosecutions willy-nilly.
The real problem is the prosecutor, because it's the prosecutor who decides who to investigate and what cases to bring. This court fundamentally embodied a potential for abuse of governmental power that I felt was inconsistent with being a free person and inconsistent with a free country like the United States to subscribe to it.
Let's put him on trial for killing kids in Iraq with a made-up war. Lying telling the whole world that they had weapons of mass destruction.
Creating a prosecutor who is overseen over by a court, they are melding executive and judicial power in a way that can lead to terrible abuses, as the founders of our country understood full well. It's why they created a system of separated powers to set up a constitutional mechanism that would enhance freedom by making sure that no one accumulation of power could predominate over the others.
We will ban its judges and prosecutors from entering the United States. We will sanction their funds in the U.S. financial system, and we will prosecute them in the U.S. criminal system.
And then let's march the son of a bitch down the hallway, right out into the yard, and hang him from a yard arm.
That this is the sort of investigation that some people who live in fairyland might like to undertake, but which bears no relationship at all to conditions in the real world.
I don't believe for a single second that most of the good Americans who worked to get the seat on American soil would accept some of the arguments that we have just heard. In fact, I think some of them would be turning in their graves, as we say in Ireland, by what we have been listening to. The United States makes the UN work when it wants it to work. And that is exactly the way it should be, because the only question for the United States is what's in our national interest. And if you don't like that, I'm sorry, but that is the fact.
Countries are really dodging responsibility for actions taken in the name of that country, in the name of the people in that country, by the people of that country themselves. That is, I think, fundamentally the wrong direction to go in.
This motherfucker's pure evil.
And yet the threat of prosecution, the threat of being accused of being a war criminal, can have an inhibiting effect. And since there's no accountability for these institutions, it could pose a threat to the United States or to the will of American friends and allies to take actions that they should undertake for their own self-defense.
I'm Zachariah, Lone Star Liberal. Y'all take it easy.
Welcome to Abu Ghraib.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Don't negotiate, let's investigate. We'll accelerate how we're taking him down.